Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, Tov, Siyata Dishmaya. We are here in Shar Yichud. This week I brought not only the SD card, everything's charged. The phone is working. We got people online, we have people in person. Baruch Hashem. We are in Rachel and Leah, and the truth is we've been learning this for quite some time, for months and months and months, and we are towards the end. We are on page Hey, which is 80, and we have to get up to. There is a part I'm going to leave out in this recording, in this set of classes. We're not going to finish the book completely, but I'll send it out to PDF. Whoever wants to finish it off in English. We have 12 pages left, right? So we'll do a little bit this week. Next week we're going to finish it off with a big Farbrengen, barbecue, B'ezrat Hashem. Everybody look for sponsors. Ask out, reach out, far and wide.
Barbecue?
Yeah, some meat, something. I don't know. We're making nice. B'ezrat Hashem. B'ezrat Hashem. When we finish books, we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate our accomplishments and the work that we've put in, especially those of us who have been here in this whole process. We have to. This is a big thing to go to work together as a group, going deep in a book, living it, learning how you've been living it the whole time, but you just didn't know. And now it's aware. Now you're aware of it. Things change. And the development of that. So when you finish a book, you have to really appreciate it. And it's not time that we have the minhag in our nation to have a siyum, right? To finish accomplishing a book and to celebrate it, to bring people together. And we have Simchat Torah, which is essentially the siyum of the whole entire Torah as well, as the actual holiday that we celebrate. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to celebrate when we finish. Today we're going to be learning about how Rachel and Leah, the more intellectual and the more emotional souls, play out in the idea of anava, humility, also tshuva, and tzniut, and we'll see if we get to azut diktusha as well. B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. The shiur is for the atzlacha of all of the holy people in Tzfat. B'ezrat Hashem, our holy city. We've been through a lot in this past year. I was thinking this week, we need a little bit of chizuk, so B'ezrat Hashem, our learning is going to go for all of the families here connected in the north, specifically our beautiful city Tzfat. And for those of you out there across the world that want to help and donate towards this beautiful city and their families that are really doing beautiful things for people coming all over across the world to come taste the city and get some healing and connection to Hashem. People open their houses and host and do good things. We want to keep it going. We want to help support them. So B'ezrat Hashem, if you're interested in donating, there will be a link below, and there already is a link on my YouTube and on my Instagram if you're interested. B'ezrat Hashem. Anava, humility. One of the differences, the main differences between Leah and Rachel is that Leah mainly focuses on what human beings have to do down here, the work of the creation, right? With Rachel, they want to comprehend and achieve and acquire and reveal in the light of the Creator in the world. The difference here is that Leah, they come to the svara, to the conclusion that the way of avoda is the way of humility. The way that a person has to go through this world is being very humble, meaning you have to know how you're not really worth anything without the Creator blessed be He. That everything you do, it's not enough in comparison to what you're obligated to do by the Creator. And this is what we find in Masechet Avot, in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers. It says there, Rabbi Shimon ben Netanel, Shekol dvarav hem darkei Leah. Rabbi Shimon ben Netanel, all of his words are in the path, all his teachings come in the path of Leah. And he says, his rabbi says to him, Tzeh uvdok ezehi derech she'irchak mimena adam. Go out and check what is the path that a person should distance himself from in the world. Vatzav amar halove ve'eno mishalem echad halove min adam kelove min hamakom. Person who borrows money and doesn't pay back. Echad halove min adam. When you take money from a person, it's like you take money from God. דהיינו שאדם צריך להרגיש את עצמו תמיד כפורע חובו. What's the inner meaning? A person always has to feel as if he's paying off his debts. וכל מה שיעשה אינו מספיק, and everything I do, it's still not paid off yet. It's still not, I still have a debt. I still have more that I should be doing. And for sure, שלא מגיע לו שכר על מעשיו. For sure I don't deserve any reward for my actions. I'm in debt. It's not like I'm just paying back. It's not like I'm deserving of anything now that I did it. Like a person who's paying back his debts, right? He doesn't get paid, you don't get rewarded for paying off your debt. כי באמת בהתבוננות בחלק מעשה התחתון עצמו. When you really contemplate on the side of what a human being has to do here down in this world, אין שלמות במעשיו. It can never be perfect. A human's actions can never be perfect. וכל מה שיעשה לא יספיק. Whatever he does will never be enough. כדי שיגיע לו משהו, to really be deserving of something. וזוהי דרך ענווה ושפלות. So in the way of Leah, this is the way of humility, this is the way of being low-spirited. I'm not deserving of anything. I'm here to work. I have commandments to fulfill. I have things to do, obligations. I don't deserve anything. I'm just here to fulfill my obligations. אומנם, הנשמות של רחל סוברות שדרך העבודה היא להכיר בגודל רוממות לשם יתברך וברוב חסדיו עלינו. The way of Rachel is to see. The path of Rachel is to recognize the greatness and the loftiness of Hashem, blessed be He, how much mercy and kindness He has on us, and to know that we are a vehicle of expression for His light here in the world. Completely flips it, right? No, I'm super important. God picked me to reveal His light by way of me. There's light flowing of the Creator through me all the time. What do you mean I'm not important? I'm not important separate of Him. But that's what's happening at all given moments. So it's not. It's a different way of looking at it. Tshuva. So that's one way, right? The way of humility. Another way is tshuva. Tshuva in two different paths. Leah people. The idea is lishpot et atzmo al ma'asav, to judge themselves according to their actions. La'arbot b'amal v'yigia, to increase in hard work and effort, to fix all of the actions from a place of pachad and ira, from a place of fear and awe of what's going to be. But Rachel people, the way that they do tshuva is to seek out and to drill through to the deepest parts of the heart and to check how much am I interested in, how much am I aspiring to connect to, how much am I yearning to Hashem, how much of my head and my heart is pointed to Hashem versus other things. So one again, Leah looks on the external, right? My actions are not good, I need to fix my actions, I need to stop doing this, I need to stop doing that. But it's like the outcome of a much deeper problem. Rachel, when they ask the same question after do tshuva, they go, what's going on in my head, in my heart? What am I attracted to? What am I thinking about? What do I want in life? How much of that is pointed towards Hashem? What do I need to clean up in my desires overall in a very, very deep place? Not what am I doing? Of course, what am I doing is not, there's no justifying the actions if they're against the Torah. No one's coming to do that. But the way I'm going to ever fix that is by going deeper inside and see where is my heart being pulled to? What's going on inside? To seek out more ways to clean up that spot so I can have the light of Hashem dwell upon me, so I can have dveikut, so I can become this dira b'tachtonim, this dwelling place for Hashem down below. And these two paths of tshuva, the point is not that there should be a contradiction here between the two. You have to do tshuva and also you have to do good actions. You have to have feeling in your heart when you're doing it as well. Right? So you have to clean up your actions, you have to start doing good things, and you have to have a connection with Hashem, and you have to start to be interested in doing those good things and developing your understanding of those good things and the understanding of how bad the other things are, right? To really brainwash yourself into understanding, why am I so pulled here when that always disappoints me, when this really gives me life and vitality and wisdom and connection and good feelings and it's for sure very, very, very deep and pure and it doesn't harm me in any way. Why am I always attracted to this thing when this thing is right there? Ki avodat b'nei Yisrael here, the work of Am Yisrael is to combine both of them and to unify both paths. But everyone has to start from his point, right? So Leah people have to, when they're coming to do tshuva, they have to first work on fixing their actions because they look at the world in a more external way. And it's about what am I here to do? So then, yeah, you have to get better. But you also have to ask yourself what's going on in your heart. And for Rachel people, that usually go straight into, what am I feeling? Why don't I feel Hashem? Why am I not able to do it? I don't feel like I want to do Avodat Hashem. So that's a good question, and you gotta work on that. But you also have to do what you have to do. You have to show up. You have to pray. You have to learn Torah. You have to do mitzvot. Shabbat you have to keep. It's not about how you feel. Right? But it's good that you're asking those questions too, because that really is the point of it, to get that far deep of what is going on inside. The actions can change, right? But it goes both ways. Your heart influences your actions, and also, according to your actions, your heart can be drawn after that, like Chazal in the Torah also tells us, right? So you can influence your actions by way of your heart, and you can also influence your heart by way of your actions, right? It goes both ways, and we need to unify both ways. Because if Rachel goes into the way of tshuva, into the work of tshuva in the path of Leah, it will be very, very hard. And they won't get to the point. They won't get to the real tshuva. And a Leah person will get that way to the purpose. Will make, if they fix their actions, that's the point. Like they have to stop doing the bad thing and start doing good things, right? So a Rachel person, that would be very hard for them to do because it's immense lack of light. Takes away the light. It might not be so easy, and they're not going to find a connection in that way. So they can't approach it that way. Because everyone has its own unique path. איש רחל צריך ללכת בדרכי רחל ולקחת מדרכי לאה בתור תוספת וכן להפך. A Rachel person, and this goes the other way as well, Leah person needs to go on their own path and to take from the other side as an addition to the work that they already have to do. You go down your natural path. If you're a Leah soul, you approach the fixing your action, stop doing the bad thing, do the good thing. And then you start to ask the questions, what's going on inside? Why am I acting that way externally? And if you're a Rachel soul, so you go into deeper what's it called? Reflection, what's the word I'm looking for? Reflection, I don't know. Introspection, right? You look inwardly and you start to ask the questions, what's going on inside? Why do I keep getting drawn to this thing? But then you also have to work on yourself. You have to stop doing the bad things and you have to start doing the good things, right? Tzniut and Malchut. Tzniut, right? Tzniut is not just modesty when it comes to clothing, right? It goes to many different things internally, right? The main aspect of tzniut and modesty is really inwardly, and men also have laws of modesty. It's not just women, and it's not just to do with clothing. One of the outcomes of Rachel and Leah is the Rachel souls that are dealing with finding the light and revealing it down here. So then they have this behavior of yesh dikdusha, holy confidence, like it's written, Rachel hayta yafat torah v'yafat mareh. Rachel was beautiful. She had external beauty and a presence. She came, when she walked by, you felt a queen. It wasn't just an average woman, right? She also looked the part. She also walked it. It was, her aura was of, there's a presence here, right? So then you see that there's tzaddikim over the time, big holy leaders and rabbis in the Jewish people, that they were rooted in the Rachel place, in the Rachel soul, and they acted in a much more kingship way, much more externally, right? The respect was like, it's given because you're seeing a ma'amad, you're seeing a presence, you're seeing a, like, who is this guy going around like a king, right? All the beauty and the splendor and the honor that could be revealed around a tzaddik, a righteous person, it's not for him. It's not about him. He is, if he's really righteous again, right? We're not talking about public figures that are made up to be what they're not, right? Real righteous people, if you ever see them not living this humble, poor life, but rather they have the Cadillac, they have the fur coat, they have whatever it is, the gold plates and so on and so forth. If you ever see that, it's not about them. They are a high expression of Hashem's light in this world. And Hashem deserves that. A synagogue should be a beautiful place. A Torah should be a beautiful. Your Judaica should be beautiful. Even more so, a holy person. He deserves to be driven around in a nice car. Why should he go in the beat up car? So there are the other way. There's the other way as well. Okay, there's always room for more than one path, right? But don't ever judge a righteous person when you see them maybe living what you think to be above. Most likely that person also gives out hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout the year. And if his lifestyle is that of malchut, of kingship, so then it's not a contradiction at all. There's no problem here. And even if you see others that go on a path that it's not like that, that's okay as well. The tzaddik is completely nullified to Hashem, as if he doesn't exist, and the only fact that he exists is to reveal the kingship of Hashem. Welcome, Rabbi Yechezkel Yosef. The tzaddik is the merkava, is the vehicle for the Shekhinah in the world, like it's written, V'yishev Shlomo al kiseh Hashem. Shlomo sat on the throne of Hashem. Shlomo is the tzaddik, Shlomo is the holiest person in the world, and where is he sitting on the throne? Not his throne, he's the king, but it's not written that he sat on his throne. Kiseh Hashem, the throne of Hashem. Since he's the vehicle of expression for the Shekhinah, it's pleasant for the Shekhinah, we should treat it in a way of malchut and yofi and beauty and kingship. And this yesh, this ego, this presence that you see on the tzaddik, on the righteous person, this importance and this honor and this beauty, it belongs to the Shekhinah, it has nothing to do with him. It's not his. He knows that. We have to learn it. Right? Tzaddik is a human being. Just at a certain point, if he's actually a tzaddik, he's cleaned up his heart. They don't think the way that we think about things. They don't look at people with the externalities that we look at people and judge them based off those things. They see the world in a different way. They see food in a different way. They see breathing. They see Torah. They see prayer. They see Jews. They see non-Jews. They see plants. The whole world is different. For a person like that, if you see money around them, really? What are they doing all day long? They're sitting with books. So what's the money doing? What? So what? The car is nice. Look at the person. What's he busy doing? Helping other people and sitting with books all day long? So what exactly is the money doing? How much is he eating really? It's not. We have to learn. It's important. It's very important, especially in our generation when there's a ton of shefa. Rav Yitzchak Baruch Chatzera said a beautiful thing a few years ago. He says, why is it now that you see so many tzaddikim with a lot of money? Because Chazal teach us, whoever keeps Torah out of poverty, in the end, he's promised to keep it out of wealth. Right? So they kept it out of poverty. They don't want to come back to this world. Just to keep the promise of the Torah, their souls agreed to come back to the world to do it again out of wealth. They already did it once out of poverty. The Torah promised them that they could do it again out of wealth. Yeah, why not? Take a ride again. The Torah said it's going to be this time with money. A little bit more Torah can elevate my soul even more. That's the only reason they came back from the promise of Chazal. So you see, in our generation, it's a little bit different. Bitul is one of the most fundamental works in the path of Rachel. And the idea is such a strong feeling in the reality of the Creator that a person doesn't feel himself at all. As if he's melting into a great light. And this avodah mainly belongs to the path of Rachel, the avodah of Bitul. That they're always trying to and busy trying to feel and comprehend more godly light and to acquire more godly light. And Bitul is talked about in different places. I have classes recorded on it as well. Zat Hashem. So we understood, right? The tzaddik is like the son of a king. He gets dressed in honor. He represents the king because he's like a child to him. So all the honor that's given to the prince, it's not really about the prince. You don't honor the prince because he's the prince. You honor the prince because he's the king. He's the son of the king, right? He's an extension of the king. He himself, he could be an 8-year-old kid, and you still treat him like he's a king because he's the prince. He is he's the long arm of the king. How could you disrespect, right? But it's not about him. It's about the king. So to here, it's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's about Hashem. And Tzadikei Leah, they went in a way of Evid, of slaves, right? They didn't, the path of Leah was poverty, don't eat it, uncomfortable bed, uncomfortable seat, no food. The path of the slave. Simple clothing, like the Gemara says in Shabbat on Rabbah, Shaya mitpalel b'levush pashut b'zman tzar. In a time of pain, they would wear simple clothing, ke'eved lifnei rabo, like a slave in front of his master. V'pashut, she'inyan zeh shelevushei kavod u'sakana le'adam ragil. The idea of wearing honorable clothing, right, like clothing that a Rebbe would wear, right? I don't know, whatever, like the big fur mekasha. When you walk in, no one else has that. They all have the regular mekasha, and you come in with this fox on your neck, and wearing these honorable clothes when you're not really there is a big danger for a person, because you can fall from that into pride, like it's written in Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, by the Ramchal. And only the tzaddikim that are completely clean of pride are able to take those things on and to wear these like extravagant clothes above everybody else, because it's not going to bring them to a place of pride, because they understand it's a representation of the kingship. It's not of them, it's beyond them. Bitul is so connected to Rachel because Rachel's whole entire idea is nullifying this creation to the higher idea of the Pnimiyut, the inner light, which is the light of Hashem, whereas Leah is about doing the work that we have to do outwardly. Where are we up to? But Leah people see the main thing of feeling the lower part. They go with anavah, they go with simplicity, humbleness, and they always feel themselves as if they're not fitting, they're not good enough. It's the aspect of, and in Leah Rakot, the eyes of Leah were soft. She was crying, she was begging, she was always asking for more, she saw herself as nothing. Therefore the behavior of Rachel appears sometimes as pride, right? You look at this tzaddik and you look at that tzaddik, you can say he has pride, he doesn't. He's humble. No, he actually might be more humble. The fact that he accepts the Cadillac to take him around, that might be more humility. You never know. It's all relativity. There's two different paths, and you could never do that comparison, right? It could appear that way, but you have to know. You have to really be careful. Therefore, sometimes it looks like pride, the Rachel path. Like the brother said to Yosef, with his nice Torah mentioned, right? Asterisk, he had a nice garment. Danger, right? To the world, because you're going to rule over us. That's what you're saying, right? That's how Leah people could look at it. You're going to rule over us. You're having dreams. You're wearing coats. You're wearing, what's going on here? So this level of yesh kedusha, of holy ego, of holy presence, of Rachel, that's on tzaddikim that are on a high level. But when it comes down and it gets expressed on simple, regular people and in more lively ideas, that Anshe Leah people go on the path of tzniut and shiflut, of modesty and lowliness, and Rachel go with beauty and kingship, and everyone is according to their own path, because the way of the soul of Rachel is in this aspect of, yes, the presence of God is here. That deserves beauty. You need to dress nice. I need to be representing Hashem in the best way possible, because that's how I see life. I'm always thinking about the inner aspect. And if godliness is here, so the Shekhinah is here, then it deserves to be adorned and to be crowned and to show up with the presence of, not because of pride, just because that's how I am. Do you have a question?
I have a question, yeah. It's mentioned in the Commission, but in 2 parts ago already, that when Yaakov kissed Rachel, he just saw Rachel and he kissed her. So I'm putting something together now. She's not just beautiful from the outside, she carries with her the presence of a queen. I'm sure Leah was also attractive, but she didn't carry that same presence of Malchus, right? That sphere of Malchus. So Yaakov, what would Yaakov be compared to? Is he compared to, like, I guess in the spheres, because I'm trying to put it together, like he saw the Malchus. Like there's obviously something very, very deep going on from that whole story when Yaakov kissed Rachel, you saw her.
Yaakov in classically is tiferet, is balance, is harmony, is the ability to find the truth where you give path to both Rachel and Leah. That's why he was the one that got married. He's the only one in the Torah that got 2 sisters and his 2 paths, right? And a bunch of kids from one and
4 sisters.
4 sisters. Yeah.
Yaakov was like Adam, no?
Yeah,
He had everything. He was the...
Exactly, it's like an all-inclusive soul that he can make room for both, and that's how it has to be, right? And that's why he gave birth to Yosef, and he also gave birth to Yehuda. And in the end, the goal is to unify the 2 together. Is that they should be biyachadim biyadech, right? Like they should be one in your hand. So I think to get into Sfirot, I don't know to tell you Partzufim and Sfirot. There is Partzuf Yaakov, there is Rachel and Leah, but I'm not going there, right? But B'ezrat Hashem, all of us soon, right? But yes, Yaakov was the one that was able to hold these 2 powers and to make it work, right? On whatever level.
Very good.
So, Rachel people still have to be careful to not fall into the externality of this and to be busy with gashmiut, with materialism and physicality, right? Just because from nature your soul needs, which is completely legitimate, to have nicer clothing, to have nicer things. That's where you're rooted, that's okay. But don't fall into it. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it overcome you. You still have to work on your humility. You still have to work on your modesty. Right? It's all Hashem. So in Baruch Hashem, in the Jewish people, we see a lot of people that live this. I've been in many, many houses where it's out of this world money, and the person, to him, like, yeah, it's all there. It's like mind blowing. But it's not. Where's his head and where's all that stuff? Why is it that way? That's how he grew up. That's where he's in that bracket. He grew up like that. Why not? He can afford it. For him, it's like his car is our car. It's the same. And that's how much money he has, right? So why not get the best? It's completely legitimate. If you can afford it, it doesn't make a dent. But the person, complete humility. Complete humility. It all comes back to Hashem. Big house, tons of guests all the time. Does good for the other people. There's no problem with that. Sometimes people think that there's money is not good, money is not holy. No, like the Balatanya says, Leah kesef Leah zahav. Right? Neum Hashem, the word of Hashem. Money is the silver is mine, the gold is mine, the word of Hashem. What does that mean? In the pshat of it, you understand Hashem saying, everything's mine. I'm the master of everything, I created everything. Tanya says what? So now there's a competition. It's my money. It's your money. How does that even make sense? Who are you to? It's my money, Hashem. Yeah, really? No. But Tanya says that's not enough. Leah kesef Leah zahav neum Hashem. Money, right? Kesef and zahav, gold and silver represents anything, right? It could be literal, physical gold and silver, but it's just money and possessions. Neum Hashem, it's the word of Hashem that's bringing life inside of that. When a Jew is desiring money and gold and possessions, what they really want is Hashem. But it's come down in an envelope, in another garment, and it comes up with worldly possessions, with worldly lusts. But really what the soul is seeking out is a connection to Hashem. We just have to pay attention to that so we can't fall into the external side, because again, it's all about the Shekhinah, it's all about the honor of Hashem, and not about us. Wow. Next thing, Azudik Dusha. Holy brazenness. the main strength and the power, the fall and practicality is with Leah people. That ability to push forward, to just do, to just show up, that's Leah's side. And it's a different aspect of Yesh Dikdusha. It's the other side of what we just talked about. To be strong, to be perseverant in this world like an iron pillar, not going anywhere. A mighty warrior with strength and courage without any fear. Rather with complete joy, simcha, and trust in Hashem that everything's okay. You're fighting the fight, but not from a place of I'm scared of what's going to be. From this is what I have to do. I'm excited. I'm connected to Hashem. I'm in joy right now. And Rachel people, by way of their connection to Leah's, they can also merit to this because it's very needed for them in order to get over the Yetzer Hara. So Leah people, they're the people that were blessed with the strength, right? Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, right? They had that warrior energy, and Yosef didn't really have that. Yosef didn't know how to fight. He didn't have that in him, right? So he was surrounded by brothers that all had it. You got to learn it. You also have to learn it, and you see that he did, right? And at a point when Yehuda has to come up to him in Parashat Vayigash, Menashe and Ephraim also had it, right? He made sure that when he had children, that they weren't pushovers. They were like he was when he was a little kid, right? He made sure, because in the end it was Yehuda and Menashe standing chest to chest.
Yosef also wasn't a pushover.
It's not pushover, but it's humility. But you have to learn, right?
Very important delegate in Mitzrayim. He's like one of the top,
No, at that point, but when he was a child, his brothers overpowered him, right? And there was nothing he could have done. When he had children, he made sure that they were mighty, because, like I was saying, in the end, Yehuda, the strongest brother, came and stood up, and it was against Yosef's son. If you read the Midrash in Parashat Vayigash, it's out of this world, what went on there. And you see that you need to learn both sides. So
they pulled out swords or a duel.
Not even swords, it's all stomping, and Yehuda has iron tears coming out that come into his mouth, and he chews them, and he has 5 hairs that pierce through the layers of his clothing from his heart outwardly, and he starts to stomp, and Menashe stomps back, and he's like, whoa, what was that? The whole world shook, and Yehuda says, what he just did, that's only from my house. That's only from Beit Avi. That's from my father's house. That was some deep Kabbalah Masit. Where could he learn this? We're in Egypt right now. Who is this kid? And then Yehuda understood there's a problem here. Because Yehuda was already at a point where he told all the brothers, there's 12 different marketplaces, meaning 12 cities in Egypt. We're going to split them up between us. We're going to take down this whole entire country. We're going to slaughter everyone. If that's what they want to do. They want to take Binyamin. They were ready. And Yosef just told his son to deal with it. So imagine what Yosef had, right? the best movie that could ever be made from all of Tanakh is the Midrash of Parashat Vayigash. Out of this world. And it's all Rachel and Leah. That whole entire story is the climax, is the height of Rachel and Leah, where the ultimate showdown and the unity that comes after it, right? That haftarah that we read on that week is that they should be unified. From Yechezkel, Yechezkel tells us that the two branches of Ephraim and of Yehuda, the Ephraim being Yosef, need to be unified in our hands.
Ephraim was the one who didn't get involved in this because he was there.
It's probably learning, not at that point.
Ephraim's Yeshua ben Nun comes from Ephraim.
Yeah.
Yechezkel is before or after Yeshayahu, when we ask?
After.
I think after,
Like changing?
Yeshayahu saw the Pnimiyut and Yechezkel saw the Chitzoniyut. Yeshayahu was higher than Yechezkel. I don't know though. I don't know chronologically though. I don't know to say. So guys, do we want to stop? Do we want to do a little bit more?
Come on, music.
A little bit more? Yeah. We've been learning for 30. No, there was music as well, so we've been learning for like 30 minutes. We'll do a few more. One more. Okay. Now we're going to go into the ways of learning. Now this next part is going to focus on how Rachel and Leah comes down to learning. And this is going to help you a lot with your scheduling and everything. You have to bring in, on one side, satiation, right? Accomplishment, like I did something here. On the other side, you have to connect to Hashem. You have to be attached to Hashem when you're learning. The Shemot Rachel, the souls of Rachel, they need to learn with light, with connection, with inner aspects, deep emotions in their learning. And therefore, for them to succeed, they need to pay attention that they bring light into their learning. That it's not just some textbook, you open it up, you contemplate, you know the light of Hashem is behind. Like we did, right? We breathe a little bit, sing a little bit, open the heart, because I'm about to do something that's actually really holy. That outweighs all of the other mitzvahs in the whole entire Torah. And the deeper the light is, the more it's going to strengthen the person, the more it's going to help him to elevate. Hagdarat musag, what does it mean, light? That changes according to the level of a person. Because in the beginning of the path, the light is satisfaction of accomplishment. Right? I finished this book, I finished a chapter, I did it, I understood the idea. That's in the beginning. I'm making progress. And only in a way of a makif, of encompassing light, there's also the sanctity of the Torah. Right? In the beginning, there's so much to learn, especially if you weren't living a religious life, if you weren't a Jew at all, right? There's so much to understand and to take on and to learn. So in the beginning, your main thing is to focus on accomplishing more, right? Getting more done, covering more ground. And in general, you have to contemplate that this is actually a really holy thing to be doing, right? There's a big light here. And we have to pay attention to this, especially educators that are in charge of young people. And we're going to bring a small example from experience he brings here from Rav Pinchas. A young boy, it was hard for him to pay attention in class. He didn't have any attention span, he didn't have a desire to be there. And that brought with it a few different problems. And the teachers there, they tried to take care of this problem and sort it out, but no one had success. Until one Rebbe came, and he brought himself down to the level of where this student was. And he said to him, he will prepare for him all the questions that should be coming up when they're learning. Right? The questions that should be coming up as you go through this idea in the Torah. And he'll give it to him before the class. Wow. Before the class even starts. And that way he got to the inner goal. And his whole entire feeling just completely transformed. Because he felt this, now I'm connected, now I'm getting it, I'm accomplishing something, I understand, okay. Yeah. Right? So what? I have a handicap. They fed me the questions before, but now I'm in the game. I'm able to actually ask a question. I'm going to get an answer. I'm following. And now it's not like it's being forced on him that he has to learn Torah, he has to show up, and he just has to sit there for an hour completely detached and bored. Right? Now it's questions and answers, and he's engaged. This is one example of the need for light. Right? You need light. You need to feel like you're doing something. You need to feel like you're accomplishing something, you're understanding it, and you're making progress. But that's a low-level light, right? But everyone, according to his level, needs light. But we can't prevent ourselves from writing that if there are hard times, that the kid or the student has no light at all, God forbid, and if there's no way to make light from the Torah, even not an external light, meaning like a reward or money for learning, showing up, right? I'll give you $50 if you come to the shiur or whatever it is, right? If you can't even do that, then you have to make light even from permissible things, like optional things, so that he'll feel some kind of connection from his doing, and he'll get chiyut, he'll get vitality. And Mizat Hashem, by way of having some kind of connection, he'll also have a connection for Avodat Hashem, right? He might not be saying it out here, outright, but it might be hinted to in bring a little l'chaim to the shiur, or, bring some wine, bring some this, that, food, this, that, we'll go on a trip, whatever it is, right? Something that to incentivize the person to learn, because in the end, the highest light really is the Torah, but they need some light. So if they're not on the level where they're getting it in a clean way, then you have to give it to them on the level that they're at, right? For that kid, it was, I just want to feel like I understand what's going on in the next hour while I sit in this class around 30 people that all get it and I don't. So his teacher, without saying anything, gave him all the questions to ask. Now he's engaged. Now people don't look at him like he's just sitting there like a fool, right? All of a sudden he's involved. He's actually starts to learn. And then he's going to start to get his own light, because he's going to start to learn what it is to ask a question, what kind of questions, when should you ask questions, and he's going to have his own questions, and he's going to feel engaged, and he's not going to need his teacher to prepare him questions anymore, right? So too, the person doesn't want to keep Shabbat, doesn't want to show up to learn Torah. Nice sushi platter, nice barbecue, a little bit of whiskey, wine, whatever it is, right? If it's a kid, obviously none of that, but the food maybe. And so on and so forth. We have to learn how to ride the waves. And there's a lot of different types of light. There's a lot of different types of feelings of accomplishment and progress. You can do it by way of reading a bunch, right? You have to summarize to yourself. You can write out different ideas, novel ideas that came up to you. But the main thing is to set up time where you learn. You have a set time and you learn uninterrupted. It's that time every day, phone is on the side, not conversation time, love you, let's talk in 15, 20 minutes whenever this time is over. Right now it's one-on-one with me in the book. Nothing can stop that right now, because it is a holy deep thing. It is connecting to the creator of the world. It is putting his brain in your brain, so to say. Right? You're connecting to the source. Give it the honor that it deserves, set the time for it, and learn uninterruptedly. Because the main thing is that it shouldn't be this obligation for you to learn. That becomes very hard for Rachel people specifically. You have to learn with light, with own nafshi, by way of seeing outcomes and success in the actual plane of this world, right? When you start to see that you're making progress and you're doing things, but with the light. But fortunate is he who can go into feeling light just by way of their Torah learning. Right? In the beginning, when they come to learn, sometimes in the middle you have to stop and remember and to contemplate the light of Hashem that is inside the letters, the holy letters of the Torah. Ana nafshi ktivati yavid, right? The Gemara tells us that Anochi meaning I, Hashem says I, that is I wrote my soul in the letters. Meaning Hashem took his essence and put it behind the letters of the Torah. So when we learn Torah, we're tapping in to the essence, the soul, so to say, of Hashem. And you connect to that level of dveikut, of attachment to Hashem, to the giver of the Torah, by way of the Torah, by way of the letters in the Torah. And you have this intention that the learning should develop inside you a deep level, a deeper level of godly revelations, feeling of life, of vitality, of connection, of a life with Hashem. And this is the true fire, this is the true light of the Torah. That's called limud lishma, learning for the sake of heaven, learning for the sake of learning Torah. What is that? To connect to Hashem. And you can go to this in any level of learning Torah at any given time. But there's different types of Torah that make it easier for a person to go into dveikut, like learning the book of the Zohar, at least the revealed part of the Zohar, right? The Zohar, 2/3 of the Zohar is revealed Torah, is not secrets, it's not deep secrets, it's midrash, right? So even that, it still has the ability, the Zohar has the ability to open up a person's heart to feeling more. Chazon Ish said, there's no Musar book better than the Zohar. There's no ethics book better than the Zohar. You want to get yourself a little lesson, a little slap in the face? Read the Zohar, it's the best. It arouses the inner light. And the Chafetz Chaim also, he would even tell young kids to learn Bachurim, teenagers, he would tell them to learn Zohar, the revealed parts of the Zohar, because its holy words have the power of gravity, as a gravitational pull towards Hashem, and that is the light of Rachel in Torah. And then from here you can understand where in certain places they went away from dealing with the Holy Zohar. Because by way of them, they were in the light of Leah. And it's not about this deep heart Torah, it's a more mental thing, right? But the souls of Israel, specifically the souls of Rachel, they need this kind of learning. Come taste and see, what is the learning of Zohar? We know it. Everything we're learning is based off of Zohar teachings, is based off of the Arizal, is based off the Baal Shem, Nachman, right? The Tzaddik and Baal Shem and Baal Tanya. All of this is from Baruch Hashem, El Galil, El Galil, here where we're sitting right now, in Eretz Yisrael Kadosh, the Galilee. The Torah that came out of here was a different Torah. The Torah that came out of here was a Torah of big lights, right? Of emotion, of love, of unity. So it's understandable why certain places, certain yeshivas, they didn't have this practice. They went away from these books, right? Because they were on the Leah side. They didn't have time for them. It's not what they're focused on. And by way of this, by way of learning in this way, you'll start to feel, one, I'm achieving and I'm making progress, but two, there's light here. I'm dealing with light of Hashem. It's not just learning. I'm not just learning a textbook. I'm engaging with the creator of the world. And by way of your learning, you'll be able to cling to Hashem more and receive from this wonderful, powerful light. And sometimes, you'll see a lot of Rachel souls are trying to get into what's called Limudei Chen, the hidden parts of the Torah, Kabbalah. Because they feel that they're going to find this taste of, this inner taste in their Avodat Hashem, this sweetness to their service of Hashem, like they always want to feel. And it's very, very good. But it's very important to know that learning hidden Torahs is made up of Chitzoniyut and Pnimiyut. There's externalities of Kabbalah and there's the inner teachings of Kabbalah. In the beginning, you have to go through working on the systems and the external aspects, understanding essentially what's written in Otzot Chaim. And you have to know the way of Ishtalshalut, the way of the light progresses down, and the main details, the main central details in that. And only after that can you really go into Pnimiyut Kabbalah, the inner aspects, to understand the Neshama, the inner Neshama, and the inner aspect of it, like will be explained in the other holy books. And there's a lot of people that get broken from the hardship and the bitterness in learning only the external parts of Otzot Chaim. And say personally on myself, right now, Hashem, I got Rav Yitzchak to start teaching us Otzot Chaim a few months ago. It's sometimes, if you don't seek the light, it's completely dry. It's like the light from the eyes went out the light of the nose and then went down to the belly button, and it's like, what are we talking about here? Like, why is this so powerful? Why is this going to make me a better person? As I understand how the world was created and the lights came down, there is immense levels of teachings there, right? And obviously this is the first time I'm going through it. It's not like I'm going to see all the depth in it, right? But it's hard. And what he's saying here is very, very true. You have to understand the process because that's what it's all built off, right? If you don't understand math, how are you going to do quantum physics? You can't make that jump, right? You have to understand the structure. You have to get through that. But according to the size of the katnut, of the hardship, of the struggles in the beginning, so too is the value of the light that will come afterwards, and then it's worth it to put in the effort and to push through. And you should, whenever you're having a hard time learning anything in Torah, you have to illuminate that light, the hardship, right, by way of knowing that B'ezrat Hashem, with your effort, that's the foundation to allow the light to come down, right? Your effort here, that's all you're asked for. You're not asked for outcomes. You don't have to understand it the first time you learn it. Understanding it will help you to bring down more light, but you don't have to understand it. That's not why we learn Torah. It's part of learning Torah, but it's not the purpose of learning Torah. The purpose of learning Torah is to connect to the Creator, blessed be He, and that's it. Part of that is understanding what's written in the book, but it's not the only goal. It's the lowest goal out of the whole entire building of learning Torah. Stop there. I'll stop there. Bezat Hashem Yitbarach. All right. That's it. One more class. In the Yom Darkecha, Rachel and Leah. And then we're going to be going into a brand new book. Not a brand new book, brand new for us. First time also that our Chabur is going to step away from the teachings of Morenu Rabbeinu, Rav Yitzchak Meir Morgenstern, and we're going to go into the teachings of Rav Avram Tzvi Kluger from Beit Shemesh. It was a wonder on his own, very similar and very, very different from Rav Itchamar, right? Very similar in the fact that he's well versed in Chabad, in Kabbalah, in Torah Chacham, in the depths of Kabbalah, and in Chassidut, in Breslov, and very different on the fact that where Rav Itchamar talks to us from way up there, Rav Kluger will give us stories and parables and ways of understanding things from down here, right? He brings it all the way down all the time in parables and stories, and the whole book is essentially going to be teaching us how to be okay with the fact that we are a huge piece of God resting inside a piece of dirt. So we have to make peace between that, right? And if we don't make peace between that, that's the exact reason that we see a lack of peace all around us. And then if we want to see more peace around us with other people and the way we look at things, by nature, when I look at something, do I see the good or do I look for the problems there? If I want to fix that, then I have to work on my inner peace between my soul and my body, between my side to receive and my side to give. Right? Everything has to make harmony, everything has to come to a place of harmony, and it's a book that out of this world. So I'm very, very excited. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll get there soon. And that's it for today.
What's the name of the book called?
Korva El Nafshi. It's from the words of the Chadodi written here in Tzfat.
He's bringing
Right?
like mushals and stories from Rabbi Nachman's Torah, or from
Also, it's very Breslov heavy, but he brings from everybody, and he makes his own. He makes stories. He'll take parts of Likutei Moharan and parts of Sipurei Masiot and take you on a whole journey and show you how like some inner secrets and inner meanings there. It's out of this world. You're gonna see 2 weeks. B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach.
What cipher is this one?
B'yam Darkecha, Rachel and Leah.